Hello, everyone. Welcome back to NECC. I'm Alias, being joined by Goose, and we should have a pretty interesting time tonight, kind of with the game that we have going on, and some of the names we had as well were interesting. So I don't know as much about this, unfortunately, because I was kind of pulled in last minute, but I think Goose knows a little bit more, so we'll kind of throw him the mic so we can deliver a little bit of that information.
Yeah, so I'm back from the first semester earlier this year. Obviously, Ali is a brand new face, and today we have a D1 matchup. We didn't get to watch a whole lot of D1 games last semester, so this is going to be a breath of fresh air. I'm really excited. We got Kansas State versus Sam Houston University. You got Uni, Sneaky, Worm, Drakon, String, and then over on Sam Houston, we got Tokyo. You know what? I'm gonna wait until my producer tells me how to produce that second name. Captain Yuri. It is Captain Yuri. And then we got I'm Dirty Dan, Panda, and then That Kid Rich. Thank you, That Kid Rich, for having a name that is somewhat simple. That's That Kid Kurt. I pronounced it wrong. But yeah, out of all names, out of the one name that I mentioned, it is the one that I pronounced wrong. I apologize. It's That Kid Kirch. But again, D1 matchup very early on into this semester. So again, it's just a figuring out stage for both of these teams, if not all of them.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. We'll send things over to the map bands real quick so we can kind of figure out what's going on with those. And obviously, we having insider information kind of knew what things were like going forwards. And I believe actually, Goose, you called this the most NA map lineup possible.
This is also the most collegiate map pool possible, simply because you just have safe maps here. Obviously, it is very early on in the semester. I'm actually pretty sure one of the only matches where I casted layer was in collegiate. So I think we will see more, difficult maps, out of common maps like maybe a Sky or a Bank later on. But start off with Clubhouse, Chalet, and Labs. These are maps that not only teams throughout every tier, but specifically collegiate, are just very familiar with. And I think these are the perfect three maps to really start the semester off.
Yeah, I mean, they're safe maps. All these teams should know them quite well. Clubhouse and Shelly especially, I feel, are probably the most two default maps that we have right now. So it does give both of these teams an excellent baseline to test not only each other, but themselves on pretty level ground. And Clubhouse as well is just a personal favorite for me with, how long it's been around. And it's also, I believe, the map where I did my first competitive scrim back when I played the game competitively and however long ago 2023 was.
A very long time ago. Actually, I'm gonna make you feel old here. Almost 2 years.
Damn.
Yeah, I know we both went to Atlanta Major, so this year, that'll be 2 years. Obviously, SI
You were in
is
Atlanta?
coming up. Yeah, I was. I
I
was
didn't. What?
I know, I
I
was a
missed this
hermit
guy,
crab
bro.
at that point. You know, at least I wasn't as open to correct people on certain teams and other things like other people. But again,
Oh my
going in
god.
clubhouse, obviously KSU will be starting off on the attack. Sam Houston starting on the defense, and the team that we will be looking at more importantly on this first half is KSU. The attacking team setting the pace of the overall matchup, deciding on how they want to play it, and also giving us a little bit of a glimpse, a sneak peek in how to relatively Clubhouse will play. Notoriously, it is relatively defender sided. A 4-2 half, a 3-3 is seen every now and again. But again, I think it is going to be a sense if these two teams are evenly matched, that it will be at least a 4-2 half. But if KSU can go into their second half with just 3 rounds, at one extra round, then I think they can put themselves in a very comfortable and safe position.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, 4-2, gonna be the more expected half, although 3-3s are just common in alright, Kurch. 3-3s are just common enough that I'm not really gonna be surprised if we see it, although you can expect that 4-2. Bedroom and Gym are gonna start off the pacing here for the maps, or for the site selection rather, for Sam Houston. As in the basement are going to be the more common sites on this map, both of them being very, very comfortable and very, very, maybe not easily defendable because I mean you know how to attack it, but very comfortable for everyone. You know how to set it up. You know what you need to hold. You know how to set up the crossfire as well. But by the same side of the coin, it's also Clubhouse, a map that I've often compared to things like Inferno and Dust 2 inside of Counter Strike because they are so commonly seen and so well known.
Yeah, it's a main staple of just not only Rainbow Six Siege, but more importantly, Rainbow Six Siege esports. One thing that is not a main staple though is a Thorn. A very interesting pick coming out from Dirty Dan. It's an operator that doesn't have
Attackers
a
are heading in
lot
to
of
defuse the
use
bomb.
unless she's used in small increments, maybe even, a little spot. So if Dirty Dan is able to use her in the proper positions, use it to potentially just trip up KSU, give them a little bit of difficulty just traversing around the map, I think it could find some use. Again, it's just kind of a testing phase early on in this game.
Razor Bloom going out.
Yeah, Thorn's an interesting one for me. I do think that if they can put them in some just time denial spots late round, you gotta set up a situation where it's like, oh, well, we have 10 seconds left to get to the building, and oh no, the only plant spot is a Thorn trap on it. We'll see if that's how she ends up being utilized. Attempted bandit trick being aided by castle barricades, but it's only going to end up with Captain Yuri taking some damage as the wall does still get opened. They're going to reinforce this mirror window with that electricity, however, which is going to alleviate a little bit of pressure, but a lot more pressure being applied on the outer edges of this site, opening up all these windows, opening up these external walls. We're probably going to see the main stairs window get opened up along with construction wall, just to make sure that Sam Houston don't really have any comfortable ground they can use to rebuff the attack.
I mean, yeah, just getting rid of all of this utility. No way! Getting the bandit battery and the Mura with it. KSU's ability to just get rid of this defender utility, use their explosive utility to clear space close and on the bomb site. And with all that, Uni is able to get the opening pick. A phenomenal job at just opening this round so quickly from the attack.
Yeah, Castle doesn't have too much utility at this point in the round, but with all the pressure they have, you still don't want to lose that kind of body. Panda and Yuri, they've also been hit down quite a bit. These gunfights that could come down to body shot wars are going to be very uncomfortable in these late round scenarios if they have to take these aggressive fights. Although it does look like KSU, they're wanting to control those fights as much as they can by just poking and prodding at any given angle.
Yeah, there is no direct way into the bomb site in Tokyo. Getting an answer back now. Thermite trying to get that bomb down. No one in the immediate area, but a C4 to at least force that Thermite to get off of the bomb.
40 seconds left. Diffuser is going down. There's a man advantage as well. It's the two low health players I mentioned earlier. Thermite's going to duck out. Just trying to hide here. C4 goes out, doesn't find anything. He gets shot instead. There's a cross on this bandit as well. Doesn't even get one. This bandit's gonna have to crawl back in master bedroom. But Worm with the 2K in the end. He shuts it down, holds that plant, keeping his head on a swivel to lock KSU in for round 1.
A phenomenal opening round from KSU in every sense of the fashion, getting rid of those castle barricades early, specifically the one over in gym, getting the one on the window, and then eventually the one that castle just put on that gym door, forcing that bandit to remove himself from that jacuzzi breach, then opening that wall. The factor of KSU just identifying a small problem and then fixing it so quickly and addressing that, using that to apply pressure on the defense is fantastic, and something that you don't even see with a lot of high tier teams. Sometimes even T1 teams have a problem. It already shows me that this KSU roster has phenomenal coordination. Obviously, I would have liked to see a little bit more from Sam Houston in that round, and there still is a question of if Sam Houston puts up a little bit more problems, if they are able to shut down that entry pick, then what will KSU do? But until that happens, we're already going to see KSU having the success to start off early.
I mean, the opening pick, obviously a very important factor, right? There is a reason that we highlight it when it happens, but I think for me as well, part of the story of that last round is that KSU looked very comfortable just identifying where the holes were in the Sam Houston defense. Like we see a cache extension set up, but it's not built in a way where it can really contest what KSU wants, and so they don't even worry about it when they're going for that last round. They just go for everything else they could possibly want, but this time, there is some pressure on the other side. Yuri gets that opening pick again. That's Yuri. Downed and out. Kirch as well, worse for wear, as he's still poking at these windows on the site, trying to figure out where any of these players might be. Also, they've also denied that pressure over by CCTV. If you can get this castle, even Twitch might be able to do it. That could be huge.
You can see that there's a little bit of a stall here from KSU. They don't know what to do next. They don't have any immediate info. You can see that Tokyo could potentially go for a run out, such a deep one, but he just misses the shots, and Draken is able to shut him down, and now Sam Houston in even more of a deficit.
There's a decent bit of time left for the attack to work with as well. Kirch is on such low HP that I'm not even sure if I count him as a body, although he does become a dead one. Zuni finishes that off, going for another pick here on the Mira. Doesn't quite land all the shots, but the health damage is going to linger. It's going to make this more difficult. Is it a 1 versus 5 now? Make that a 0 versus 5. This Draken just comes in from cash. Is yet again, we see KSU, they find these holes, they find the gaps, and they shut down any attempted comeback from Sam Houston.
I mean, if you're Sam Houston, you just do not go to that master bedroom and gym bums. They'll be going down to the basement on Church and Arsenal. I think a great option from them. Just the crossfires being set up from KSU, their ability to just clear that defender utility so quick, and the lack of adaptation from Sam Houston kind of put KSU in a situation where they not only just had a round where they just had to check their kicks off on the box, just a step-by-step process, but they were the exact same steps. KSU was attacking into a setup that was mirroring the one from the very first round, and that lack of adaptation made the execution, made setting up those crossfires for KSU even easier. Even now that we're going into a different bombs, I do want to see, whether it be from round to round or in a specific round in itself, just more adaptation, giving KSU something different to deal with. And that difference in this round is going to be Tokyo roaming with the Cav, and an absolute phenomenal addition to this defense.
Yeah, Cav is always an interesting one, as I feel that she can be very flip-floppy with her effectiveness. I've seen her win entire rounds by herself. Depending on how she's played, she can also be the solo pick, or the first pick that ends up happening on that solo roam. So we'll see how that ends up happening here for Sam Houston. So she's not going to be entirely alone. Dirty Dan is going to be roaming around on that Legion as well, which does provide some backup along with some information game. And if he can distract these drones, that allows Tokyo They just kind of worm around in this space with the lack of information the attack may have.
It also really does come down to the timing of Tokyo. They understand that there is a roamer somewhere in this position. With no exact info,
You didn't hear?
Tokyo can just play safe. Didn't hear them, but two players right next to him! He goes for the knife instead of shooting the Nomad right next to him! Uni thinking that they had a breach charge would simply flash. Even with losing that opening pick, you get rid of all of that utility that Draken had on the Grim. You waste a lot of time for it, and now a little bit of that phantom pressure is starting to creep up on KSU. They're not fully aware that there is an additional roamer. There is over by top blue. There will be a yellow ping to identify that, to give them that exact info, and then additionally force that player to go back down to the bomb site. But you can see the Legion, he's just trying to play his ground, trying to force just as much time as possible, waste as much time, take it away from Sam Houston, and there is no immediate answer. He's going to be allowed to just walk back down to the bomb site.
This is exactly what I did want to see from Sam Houston after this first 2 rounds, right? Take initiative, be the ones to try to force the attack to play into you. By having that cap, by having the threat of that solo roam, they do exactly that. And it ends up getting rid of that Grim, which, as pointed out by Goose, has so much utility that's valuable in that late round. Well, then now with only 50 seconds left, they have to go into crunch mode. They still need that hatch inside of Moto open, but they don't have any good utility to get rid of anything on it. The Grim was probably the one carrying those secondary EMPs, and he is sitting at a grave right now. Uni as well coming face to face with that clash, gonna chip off bits of his HP. And we see Panda, he's just behind him, ready to swing. Yuri gets a pick as well. There's only 25 seconds left. The defense are rotating around, all prepared for where these attackers are coming from. Just trying to find anything, hold this angle. See if someone walks into it. They do, but he can't land the shots. Clash still holding down this fort. Smoke doing so much damage. It's all up the string. He only gets 1 though. Out of the few that he needs, it's just a down. Still trying to fight these angles, but no one reveals themselves. Sam Houston, they found the solution. They found the codes. They've gotten themselves around back.
A phenomenal answer coming out from Sam Houston, going to that basement bomb site, and essentially changing their entire defensive ideology. Obviously, a completely different bomb site, you're going to have to play it differently. There is no real choice, but having that addition of simply a roamer, making that a cav, applying that roaming potential, forcing KSU to roam you out. And sure, you only got 1 pick, that being eventually traded, going into a 4v4, but that applied phantom pressure. Also having that Legion on top blue stairs, forcing KSU to not only deal with it, but then making yourself known, saying that you're going to have to push me out, that allowing KSU to know your location made KSU doubt every single step. That phantom pressure just haunting them the entire round, and in turn, they just bottled the round, wasting way too much time, forcing themselves into a very uncomfortable execution with little to no options to work for themselves.
I'm interested to see if they can translate that here, because this site operates very differently than Basement does. Because with Basement, you have to clear out a lot more roam potential than you do for something like CCTV. But Tokyo, he's going to give it a crack nonetheless. He's sitting inside dirt right now. If anyone wants to get onto that balcony outside Jacuzzi, he could have an angle with that if he gets a punch hole going in that wall. Although Maverick is being brought out by KSU, which allows them to make very quick work of this main wall. It's opening up basically for free, getting these bandit charges off, or actually not bandit charge, it's going to be a Cade instead, so he has to fully trick it. But the addition of that Grim with the secondary shoddy, or the shoddy that is located on Buck, it's going to make things trivial to an extent.
Yeah, I really love this addition and adaptation from KSU to bring the Monty. They're not trying to force themselves to play the shield meta, but rather are just bringing a Monty because he brings so much use specifically to this bomb site, clearing that top Raptors position, especially with a player like Yuri on the smoke who just has so much denial. Monty would just be a presence, won't have any immediate pressure onto the smoke player, but will make himself known. draw the attention away from that smoke, forcing him to rotate over. A couple of shots. Eventually, though, String is able to shut him down. And now that Raptors control is in the favor of KSU.
Yeah, they can start to work the Monty up here, get that wall up and try to plant on the CCTV rack, but they do still need someone located downstairs to get that done, but that's Draken. He's killed off immediately, though. That pressure is just gonna have to wait for the time being. There's only about a minute 20 seconds left here for them to get inside of the building, get everything they want, and Dan, he's put himself right in the middle of that control they need with that C4.
Yeah, and there's just not a whole lot of control. The only real control that KSU has right now is that Raptors position. They do have CC wall open, but with still a player down below in blue, he can play spoilers. And he has a C4. He can play that plant denial from below if he does have enough info. With the pulse also below, it's kind of a situation where they're just luring this attack, forcing them to go for the plant, waiting so they can just let off the C4. With this Monty being so still, the C4 is going to have success in Dan with one of his own.
There's the clash up as well. That provides so much pressure. The pulse firing from below. It's all left up to String yet again. But he has to fight the clash along with the other on red stairs. He doesn't even get one. Tokyo, he finishes that off. As Sam Houston, they've been doing such a good job finding the holes in these attacks, the holes that they once had, and turning them on their heads and knocking KSU's round count back.
But Ali, there's a problem. You won basement, you won CCTV, and with the bar just not being a viable option, there's only one bomb site left. Headroom in gym, the bomb site that not only did they lose twice, but they lost it with little to no contention. 2 rounds to start off this map with little to no success. And bringing out this mirror, not really adapting, they will bring out a Vigil and a Doc, a small little adaptation, but if they don't play Tokyo to his fullest potential, if they don't allow for him to apply pressure, whether it be Phantom or Direct trying to get that opening pick, which has had so much of a crucial effect throughout this entire defense for Sam Houston, and he's not going to have little to no effect whatsoever in the round.
Yeah, Tokyo coming online has definitely helped them a lot, but the fact that he's in these aggressive positions is a double-edged sword. He's going to be the first one taking these fights, and he wanted to be in that position, but it also means that he could be the first one to fall here. And with that roam pressure that really has been working so well for Sam Houston, you don't want him to be the first one to die, but he isn't the first one to die. He gets that opener to Draken. That's a lot of that CC control that was gained so easily before, made so much more awkward.
I mean, that's exactly what Sam Houston needed, and rather what KSU did not need. Uni playing the exact same position that he's been playing for 3 rounds in this bomb site. Worm is able to eventually shut down Dan, get rid of Doc. All of that healing usability will be now off the board, and more importantly, a pick traded back, but they still don't know where Tokyo is. And we've seen in rounds previous where they don't have 100% info on where a roamer is. It makes them waste time. It always makes them second guess themselves, move a lot slower throughout the map. Tokyo making sure that he purposely does not expose his position. Not trying to play aggressive, not trying to have an immediate presence to this attacking position, making sure that he strikes when KSU least expects it.
I think they threw 2 separate drones at him, and that does lead to a kill from String, which does give the man advantage over towards KSU. But Tokyo is potentially in a position to play spoiler so long as his teammates can keep themselves alive on site, but that may be a fool's errand. As we already see Panda fall down, that's just Yuri left on site here. Effectively in a 1 versus 4, he has to rotate out to a safer area. And that means Tokyo has to come back soon, has to get back to the site to prevent the attack from pressuring out Yuri. He tries to fight off Uni. So now Tokyo's gotten back as well. It's a little bit more doable. But is this position going to be revealed? Is that too much? He falls! It's all left all up to Yuri. Sitting inside of construction, they're just gonna flash him out, go for the fights. Worm gets that one. Repeat of that first round. It's KSU, they're just the kings of gym, hitting their sets so much more effectively than Sam Houston have been able to muster.
And one of the most important factors that I talked about before going to this map is how important it would be for KSU to just simply get an additional round. 3 rounds whole and heartedly. And no matter if it is only on Jim and Better, no matter if the only 3 rounds that they won was on one singular bomb site, you still got those 3 rounds. Sam Houston, even with that roam from Tokyo on the Vigil, which again, I theorized that he was going to potentially have a problem just using his position to the fullest capability, allowing for Castle to lose his life over by main stairs window, essentially giving the idea to KSU that, sure, they didn't know where the Vigil was around the map, but they knew he wasn't in the bomb site, understanding they essentially had a 4v2 on the bomb site, dealing with those 2 players on the bomb site, then forcing that Vigil to rotate up those main stairs very late in the round. And by the time they even got close to the bomb site, those crossfires by KSU were already set up, prepared to shut him down.
So I think something I want to point out here, just looking at the map ends real quick, this is KSU's pick. So I would say that given that knowledge, things are going about as I would expect. You expect the team that picks into a map to have a very solid understanding of it. And KSU, I feel even on rounds they have lost, have demonstrated that quite effectively. They very clearly know what the steps are, even if they're having trouble doing those steps sometimes. There's never trouble figuring out what those steps are. And even though this is a basement attack, which they did lose quite thoroughly last time, they know a little bit more about how SHSU are playing these sites. And with that pick from Dirty, or from Uni, excuse me, onto Dan, it shuts down that opening pick they lost before, but they lose the buck in turn, which is just such an important operator compared to that dock.
Yeah, and this is a problem that Sam Houston has had, or more importantly that KSU has had, is that they'll put a lot of their entry players, especially on these additional bomb sites aside from the top one, in very pivotal positions. And sure, it does have an effect. You did yet again get another trade, but on top of that, you lost that buck. Not only are you going to waste time trying to clear the map after losing that player, but now, with really no additional soft breach, sure, you do have those breach charges, but that takes such a long time, and still having to clear Tokyo out over in bathroom, having this clash rotate back up. I mean, Sam Houston has done a phenomenal job at just spoiling this time, forcing KSU to go into these very ill-informed positions, and yet another one, another pick from Tokyo.
Could go for a third here, but Uni's on his second instead. Even things up, well, I mean, exactly, but look at that. Those 2 picks that Sam Houston gained are probably the most important 2 attackers on this site. That Hibana is going to force more awkward uses of those soft breach charges, those can openers from KSU, and that Buck isn't able to clear out these defenders like he would have before. And that takes a toll on the attack. They have to work so much harder to get anything done. But the Grim has some displacement potential, along with the potential to open up dirt. Create another avenue that his team can play with. They're rotating around quite a lot. They need to figure out where these last few players are. As the smoke canisters have started ringing out, Grimbees are going to go out as well. You're going to see the drop directly into the Dragon's Den. See what they can figure out here. But with Kool-Aid Ball open, could be a potential for retake. Smoke throwing up more smoke canisters, but look at this. That diffuser's going to go down. Uni gets another one as well, but it ends up being a trade. The Clash being one of your last 2 defenders. So it's far from ideal. They have to retake into these ACOGs, fight these last 2 players sitting on top of that diffuser. And the Grim is making things more difficult by throwing out his utility, displacing these defenders. It's all left up to Kirch on that Clash. Has to pull out the SMG to go for these fights. Can he get even one? No, he can't. String with the 2K. He finishes it off. KSU, they find the solution to the woes they were having before and bring us to a 4-2 completely inversing the round count we expected.
I mean, talk about a great start on your own map pick. And I do want to preface that map picks play a very important role in Collegiate. Not only just for us to explain to ourselves, but also just to a viewer if you're not very familiar, especially comparing to, other scenes in Siege. It is very common to see a team just have so much success on one map, and then maybe we go on to Sam Houston's map pick, which is the next one, and then they just dominate on there. So I don't think this is kind of a sense where they had a completely horrible half, which comparing it to expectations, I think it's not kind of a situation where, it could be down the dumps. All we can know, this could be an attacking sided clubhouse. But again, I think just the overall cohesion from KSU allowed for them to just solve so many problems, both micro and big, throughout that entire first half. And that is really the major factor, what is allowing for them to just completely make this a one-sided affair.
Attackers are heading out.
So, I don't know about you, Goose, but I like that we're seeing the Kapkan here. I like combining that with the Malusi, and especially the Mira. As it is quite an eclectic collection of operators that we have on KSU, but a lot of it is designed to just slow Sam Houston down and make them play into more awkward engagements, which I think is something that's going to benefit them quite a lot, especially with how quite a few of those rounds, particularly on Jim, went in that last half. As I feel if they can kind of force Sam Houston to play awkwardly, throw a wrench into any preconceived notions, that could have a knock-on effect of how the rest of the round goes. That being said, there is a blitz, and blitz is oftentimes the opposite of what I was describing, the opposite of that slow play, which could as well have a knock-on effect in the opposite direction. But we'll have to see if Sam Houston can get him into the position he needs to be in to have that impact late round.
The problem with this blitz, in my eyes, just going into the theory side of things, is they both have a Kapkan and a Malusi. Whether or not this defending utility has any effect on the blitz whatsoever, it goes to show that KSU is prepared for a very quick and aggressive play style coming from Sam Houston. So it really gives you the idea that they are ready to deal with this blitz. They have the plan in place to stop this momentum, and on top of that, tricking the hatch. Blitz also not really finding any immediate effect. Could be rotating him over to that dirt position, trying to attack this bomb site from multiple different positions. Not entirely a bad idea, but again, you can just see on how they can't really commit with anything. And throughout all of that, Tokyo from the vertical finds the opening pick onto Worm.
That kitchen hatch being reinforced, though, that's such an awkward effect. They can't drop that. They can't use that for leverage. Sure, you have dirt, but just walking down dirt can be a fool's errand if there are still players over by that cage position. But at the bottom of the stairs as well, let's take it out by Drac, and that evens things up. Forces us into a very awkward situation with only 40 seconds left. They know where this player is inside of stock as well, expecting fully rotation down that angle, prepared for someone to run down from main as well. They're all holding these angles, just waiting. They're perfectly content to let Sam Houston waste their own time, burn their own bridges, see how far things can go. But with 15 seconds left, the action has to come soon. Smoke grenades go out. Fight the blitz head on. It's gonna work for you, Uni. He's on a triple kill. Lives only Dirty Dan. He has to try to walk down main stairs, but he has only 4 seconds left. Can he do anything? No, Uni. He gets the quad kill. He secures the first defensive round for his team in such beautiful, beautiful fashion.
A phenomenal way to open your defense. I thought the very opening round of this entire map in the entire first half for KSU was great, but that was very impressive. A fantastic job of KSU completely countering the entire play style and idea coming from Sam Houston in that round. I talked about how they had the utility to slow down and prevent a quick jab rush onto the bomb site, whether it be with the shield play that we did see coming out from the blitz or something else. KSU was more than prepared for what Sam Houston did. And on top of that, they had the cohesion and coordination as a team to deny it that I just have not seen from Sam Houston, either on their attack now or when they were on the defense. I think that is one of the problems where we can talk about all the downs and the lows of Sam Houston, but when you have a team like KSU that is playing so phenomenally together as a team, and on top of that, you're having a relatively bad day as a team, there's just not a whole lot you can do.
Attackers must locate and defuse the bomb.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to talk about the blitz pick a little bit more, right? Because I think that is a very interesting kind of interaction to me with how he affected that round is oftentimes the viability that he brings, the utility, isn't being displacement or the defense. He forces you to run away. It's a big hunk of metal with a bright flashlight strapped to the front of it. It makes you want to run away. But KSU deliberately do the opposite. They get right in his face. And we see one player knocks back the shield while the other starts shooting at him. There's just too much going on for him to really make any one decision that can save him in that situation, because Uni positioned himself so perfectly in the late stage of that round, right? Because we've seen KSU, they always know what that game plan is, and now they're using it to the inverse effect on their defenses. They know what the steps Sam Houston need to take to dismantle the defense are, and they're purposefully disrupting those.
Sophia has can openers? How long has that been a thing? Am I tripping, or is that new?
I think it was like the last like major update, like the one where they like
all right,
rebuff
so I'm not too
Sledge.
crazy. That's huge though. That Jaeger is gonna stop one of those impact grenades from Dirty Dan. He is eventually able to get rid of that castle in turn. Kirch is able to get that jacuzzi wall, but that's just a small bit of additional utility wasted from the pockets of the attack. And we can see that there is a relatively similar lineup and overall plan in this round from Sam Houston to set up these verticals on the windows, open that jacuzzi wall, potentially catch a defender crossing off, but a very huge flank coming from Tokyo up these main stairs. It doesn't look like anybody from KSU is aware of his position. If he is able to play it correctly, this could be a huge opening, but it's Uni to find the very first on to Panda.
He's gonna make his move now, run right into logistics, but he doesn't win the gunfight. No, what are you doing? Think he's gonna go for more. Can he get it? He has to pull out that shotgun. As the rest of the attackers, they have to run in, but the defense, they have so much space to work with. Uni's on a double kill now. It's a 4 versus 2. It seemed like it could go so well, but it's falling apart. Wow. Can you do it, Curbs? Can you get the 4 kills you need? The attack is barreling down on you. No, you can't. And him getting put in the boxes with the rest of your team. It's KSU. They put themselves on map point for Clubhouse.
Another round where the just early setup from Sam Houston looked really good. They had a phenomenal idea. They had the crosses open. They made sure that no player could play relatively safe running around in that master bedroom bomb site. They got that jacuzzi wall with relatively success, allowing for nobody to play that L hallway, and then even had the Buck creeping his way upstairs. Even had the thermite on the jacuzzi rappel holding his cross, potentially if a player was going to flank him. Also got rid of that Mira, but when it came down to the execution, just getting that coordination and timing off in every single small aspect, that's when they started to falter and fail. And I think it's kind of a situation where that has been the running theme, the running problem for Sam Houston throughout this entire matchup so far. And it's a problem that you can't really fix in this map specifically, especially when you're going up against a team that is having an absolute heater in coordination and team play, like a team like KSU is having.
I guess well, right? I don't. Kills aren't everything, obviously, but look at the scorelines from both teams. It's very even across KSU, with the exception of Uni especially, but Worm as well standing out. Whereas it's only Tokyo on the side of Sam Houston that is positive. No one else even encroaching on being even. And he's on a shield, he's on your Monty, right? And I'm sure he's a hell of a Monty player, but it does sort of tell the story of this game. When we've gotten to those late round situations, KSU, they've just been able to hang a lot more than Sam Houston have been. And now they've sent Tokyo into the lion's den with the diffuser all by himself, which isn't going to result in him being killed off just yet. While it is going to be open, they are going to look to dislodge this player who's on Raptors, but what are you doing? He's got that kill. He has the diffuser too. You can just sit and hold this. The flames go out. Can you get out? No, you can't. With the defense, they can still watch this diffuser that's stuck on Rafters. Yuri has a fight if he wants to get back inside of this map. As Draken, he's just sitting and waiting. He knows where that diffuser is. He and String holding this together to prevent any hope Sam Houston has of recovery.
Swing from Worm. will have, or a swing from Dirty Dan, rather, will have no success. Worm also eventually shutting him down at every single opportunity in this round for Sam Houston is being immediately shut down. String finally able to shut down Yuri. And now, little no options. Last two players from Sam Houston, right outside that CCTV breach, be rotating over to Garage, trying to retrieve that diffuser. But String in a position to meet them head on.
String's gonna take this fight, deal some damage, but Panda gets one before being refragged by Uni. Kirch, yet again, left in that clutch. He gets one this time. That's the fleck onto Uni. He knows where this diffuser is. He has a vague idea of where String is as well. But will String reveal himself? Just being behind this bike rack is doing so much. His Worm swings out from Rafters. Gets that kill while his opponent's distracted. It's KSU 7-2. They dominate this clubhouse defense.
I talked about how important it was for teams to win their map pick. And more importantly, how it is just a common factor in especially collegiate that teams will just have a lot more success on their map pick. And I think Sam Houston will have a better fare on the second map. But I think it is a problem that is bigger than that. That coordination lacking from Sam Houston. On the side of KSU, that is where they perfected their game. There was not a sense where everybody had the same idea. And we're going to go to a quick break before we go to map 2.
What exactly is a meat substitute or plant-based jerky? Call me a meathead, but when I want a meat snack, I want real meat. The kind you find at Wenzel's Farm and the only kind they use. Handcrafted in small batches and naturally hardwood smoked right here in the heartland of America. Wenzel's Farm offers 14 flavors of mouth-watering protein-packed power in a stick, except no substitute. Wenzel's Farm, real meat for real life.
What do you make of this up here? Just showed up in the yard a couple days ago. Dog been digging in there? I don't think so, dude. That goes way down in there. Seriously, did you just lose your meat stick?
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's something in there, dude. Just leave it.
Are you kidding me?
We'll just head to this. Just leave it.
Hell with that.
Oh! Ah, yeah, there's something in there.
Not one.
Thank you.
It was worth it.
Oh, man, this is incredible.
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah, it's cool.
It is pretty cool. Hey, man, grab me a meat stick. I think I can reach it if I just a little more. Just let me go a little. I can't. Just a little more. I almost got it. Careful! Oh, God. No. Come on, just reach. Reach. Just grab my hand. I can't grab my hand.
Give me the meat stick. This other hand's closer. The one with the stick is... Oh!
What am I supposed to say?
It doesn't matter. His daddy ain't listening to you anyway.
I'm hungry.
No. Put it away. I can't watch it. Oh, crap. Just reach in. You gotta pull it. Just grab it. Just take it out of his hand. You just can't. What do you mean you can't?
Let go.
What do you mean you won't let go? He's dead.
Help me. Get in there. No, just hold on.
Make him let go of it. No, I got you. Just go in for a hug. Go and get on in there. It's a bad loss. Yeah, hug him up. Just reach. Hug him up.
He's breathing.
Other side. Go.
I can't.
Just-
I can't do it.
Help me, Lord. Help me get over this loss.
I can't breathe.
Hey, I can't breathe. I'm so upset. I can't breathe. Stop. You knock on wood so they go to heaven. It's like a lucky. Hey, get the stick.
Yeah,
Hey, do you the meat stick?
yeah, I got it.
Hey, just hold tight for a second. They're moving the casket. Just hold tight.
Yeah, it's no worries. I got it.
Oh, what an awesome day for a pump, dude.
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Doc says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself, you will die.
I'll tell you what, you finish the workout, all these could be yours. That looks good. A little bit of honey ham for the ham. Get after it, and that's your get after it, and that's your treat. Hey, do the exercise, do the work, then you get the reward. That's how this works, man. You gotta give it max effort, maximum effort. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big hams. Make it work, those hams. Work 'em. Putting in the work. Yeah, baby. Yes. Dude, this is a spicy workout. Gotta make it worth it. Building the beef and bringing home the bacon, baby. I'm loving it. Teriyaki is just about within your reach. Come on, get you some. Come on. Ooh, ooh. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. You're there. You're almost there.
Oh, so worth it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to NECC. Much like the last time I introduced us, I'm Alias, and I'm joined by Goose, as we have Sam Houston versus KSU, which bit of an interesting first map, I would say, as we saw 7-2 in the favor of KSU, which was very, very dominant. It was their own map pick, and we could probably bring up the map bans, actually, just for a little bit to kind of go over it again, but it was their own map pick, so you would expect them to do well on it, but I think you were hinting at maybe a little bit more of an underlying issue with the way that map went for Sam Houston.
Yeah, I mean, just the overall coordination, especially the timing and executions on the attack, just was not there. I really didn't see it. They had great ideas. It wasn't like a sense where they weren't trying to go for the execute. They didn't even try. There was like 20 seconds left. They're like, oh, we gotta execute. They were going for the execute. They just weren't able to get that coordination down. KSU, on the other hand, that is kind of a situation where I was actually jaw dropped at how good they were coordinated, how good they were able to get their timing down, deal with the problems on the attack. And I think it's also a sense where they did a phenomenal job at adapting and countering what Sam Houston was trying to do. It's one of those problems where it just goes from map to map. It's not a specific clubhouse problem. It could be, honestly, a situation where that Sam Houston just is not a clubhouse team. We could see a completely different team going on to Schley, but I fear that it is going to be the first option of just them, in a sense, being outmatched, especially if Schley is a map that really relies on the attacking side, not only having a very coordinated and structured execution, but also doing a good job at time management and just dealing with those clears of that extension from the defense, and especially the roamers.
I think it is worth noting as well that it looks like KSU picked the defense, which is interesting. As normally you kind of expect to want to go on to attack on Clubhouse first, but all right. I love all chat. It's so fun.
It is.
But getting back to my previous point, right? Normally you want to start on that attack, but KSU choose instead to start on that defense. And I think that is kind of a deliberate choice. Get that harder side out of the way, especially since we saw that Sam Houston's attack weren't really all that good on the previous map. So that gives you, if you can get, say, a 3-3 half, a ton of breathing room when you go into that attacking half that is usually much more beneficial on maps like Chalet.
Yeah, and again, as I spoke about before, Collegiate is a completely different scenario. This is the very first start for the semester, so I think a lot of that coordination problem, the lack of Sam Houston not all being on the same page, isn't really a problem that I want to harp on too much, because it's a problem that can be easily fixed within next week. Within the next cast we have 2 weeks from now, I think it is kind of a situation with whether or not these players have played with each other before. I don't have all the info on that, or if they are somewhat new. They're still getting back into the swing of things, trying to figure out how each other play and how they want to play, what identity they want to create as a team going into the semester. It's just a problem that they'll just have to continue working on with whether it be game day reps or scrim reps to back up it.
So things start off before here. I'm interested to see if that well kind of structured and coordinated defense that we saw from KSU the first time is going to translate over towards Chalet. As it is, I would say, probably the second most default map that we have in the pool right now. Following pretty closely behind Clubhouse, honestly. Which I think does bode well for them if they can translate those things. As fundamentals, I feel, will translate more or less to every map. And we saw last time, we both agree, I think, the KSU have pretty damn solid fundamentals. Although, with it being Sam Houston's map pick, that does also give them a chance to flex a little bit more of that big brain energy that they might have been lacking on Clubhouse.
I also just got a text from my mom. I just want to mention this because I don't think I've ever heard someone say this. She said that her favorite part about her cats is that they don't bark. I mean, true, but I think that's kind of a given. It's like going into Chalet, it's very important that you want to try and use the utility to traverse around the map, especially on the attack. But it's something that we really don't have to say as casters. That's something kind of self-explanatory. You can already see the plethora of defensive utility that KSU is bringing out. That is another factor that we didn't really have time to touch on over on map 1 on Clubhouse, is that KSU on their defense was phenomenal. And not only bringing a lot of defensive utility, but also using it well. And speaking of utility, that beeper on bottom blue will alert the entirety of the defense to Tokyo, trying to get that quick jab, that little lurk from the basement. That surprise factor now completely gone.
These Oz blockers are actually being a lot more useful than you might expect them to be, if you've seen them placed down before. As this drone now has to walk into the lion's den to get any proper information that makes placing a cut on that bar hallway significantly more difficult. And as you said, because that surprise factor is gone, they are still gonna have Tokyo poke around this area a little bit. But it looks like they might know that he's here. We might see Worm try to challenge that just a sec here. But he's not really helping his teammates. He's not using those zero chems for anything. And he's isolated himself completely here.
Oh.
That's going to be made a little bit worse by the fact that, well, everyone's hitting the floor right now. Tokyo and Dirty Dan both drop before they can have any proper impact.
I mean, yeah, that's just going to be very pivotal. Obviously, you don't lose a whole lot of utility, but no position for Sam Houston to get immediate trade. Panda also being pushed off of this balcony right here. Still haven't cleared this top floor, especially this Mez position, but Uni, over swinging in his position, is able to gift Panda an easy kill to shut down. Yuri also has wedged his way right outside the bomb site, watching, potentially waiting for Drakon to waltz his way down those blue stairs. They need to clear this shield, but rather he's going to actually shut down Sneaky, but Worm is able to get the answer back onto him.
So 3 versus 1 now for Courage. He has to walk at the shield top blue. Did he get it done? No, you cannot. Drakon gets that last kill, defending his hoard of gold, defending the rest of the site along with it. As KSU, they seem to have not dropped any momentum as they've gone from Clubhouse all the way to the Snowy Chalet.
I mean, overall, a phenomenal round from KSU. In the fact that they didn't give that top control up, that they played very strong-headed, is huge. Because if they went for that fallback, whether they dropped the hatch inside a box or that Jaeger waltzed his way down blue stairs, Yuri was able to shut down both of those players. The fact that they didn't rotate down, stood their ground, and made sure that Sam Houston was forced to push them out by force, it made sure that they weren't in a position to lose their life to that lurk. And I think this is going to be a factor that Sam Houston is going to continue to rely on their attack. going for these lurks around the map, trying to potentially catch off defenders. But if you don't have the info
10
to
seconds
back it
left.
up, you're not going to be able to shut down these defenders relatively early on,
5
or if it's
seconds
later
to
on
go.
the match. So I think one of the biggest things that Sam Houston has to work on, especially if they want to go for these lurks, is just using and getting that info a little bit better.
Yeah, I do like your point about them not falling back, by the way, because I think that is kind of a resurgence of something we saw last map, where KSU just look comfortable getting into brawls at any point in the round. They very rarely seem to get caught off guard or position themselves like in spots where they're just going to die for free. Sure, we've seen people like Uni overswing a little bit, but that confidence they have and that consistency with which they back that confidence up really has been playing into their favor, right? There it has, I believe, an unintended effect of not falling into the player that's holding your cut, but it's also just meant that any map control that's taken by Sam Houston, it's not free. It's so uncomfortable. He's going to hold his ground here, even with the Monty in his face, for finally giving things up, throwing his auto canister down at his feet, as he's just trying to deny so much with these.
I mean, just such an unlucky position. If you just waited a couple of more seconds for that Monty to move up, you wouldn't have lost that player. You would have been able to push that player back and shut it down. Sneaky with another kill, now getting rid of the thermite. He was eventually able to open the wall. Tokyo in a very pivotal position. But with Drakon still inside of office, they just can't clear this position. Again, another round where, because KSU has such a heavy man lead, they're not falling back. They're going to force Sam Houston to go into these gunfights and push them out with force. And because of that, KSU is continuing to dwindle these players down.
Bomb diffuser has been
Sneaky's on a 3K now. It's a hell of a round from him. Yuri slept in a 1 versus 5, but he doesn't even get the 1. He's going to get killed off by Draken on that Warden, who finishes off the round just as he did last time.
A phenomenal start. I really just have to give the props to KSU. I spoke about in the second map that while Sam Houston has a lot of problems just overall in their gameplay and in how they've been playing today, it doesn't really matter what side they play. Those problems creep up on both sides. It's kind of just an overall play style and ideology problem. But on the other hand, KSU is playing near flawless, but these problems are having a lot more of an impact. If Sam Houston played up against a team that wasn't really more heavy focused on playing directly into them on the attack, countering their overall plays, whether it be playing very fast, using that shield, then I don't think these problems would have as much of a negative effect on the overall game that it would previously. But because KSU is taking every single opportunity to slow down Sam Houston, to play right in their faces, that it's a problem that they don't really know how to deal with and rather fix. Oh, wait. Yeah, I missed it.
and defuse a bomb.
Just by a little bit. Just by a smidge, a hair, or what other unit of measurement you might want to use that is not the metric system, because we're in the land of freedom here. I'm interested to see, right? Because I feel that oftentimes the biggest impact that's not seen with the way that KSU is playing with that type of playstyle on your opponents is just the mental game. It can be very frustrating when you can't get... Thank you for making sure we see that unnamed. Wait, look at this, actually. Monty's gotten in directly below the site here, and they have some information on these players down below, but Uni, he knows where this Monty is, and there's not exactly a ton he could do on his own. What are you doing, Kirch? What are you doing, Yuri? You're just taking these one-on-one fights. That's going to force Dan to get a little bit aggressive. That's going to make the rest of your team have to get aggressive. From this disadvantage, stop swinging, Uni. It's all left up to Panda. 1 versus 5. Can he get anything done? He's sitting on the solar window. Diffuser threatens him. He tries to make any move, but the run-out from String finishes it off. Before they get in, everyone dies outside of the building. because KSU, they're not afraid to swing.
I mean, this is a recipe for disaster. You have a team like Sam Houston that their overall gameplay is to play slow. Be very cautious of every single step they make. They'll set up their crossfire, their position in that round over by West Main. They had a player outside that window, player coming up from the bomb, or the basement rather, and then the Monty. A 3-player crossfire. Obviously, Monty doesn't have his gun up. He's not able to have any effect aside from just apply pressure, give info to his teammates. But it's kind of a 3-man crossfire where you rely on KSU not understanding that it's there. But because KSU is a phenomenal team at reading Sam Houston, they knew exactly what was going on, swung right into it, and it's kind of a sense where if you're Sam Houston, you're playing slow. KSU absolutely loves that. It's barbecue chicken. If they want to run at you, they will run at you. And if Sam Houston is not punishing them, and they're not punishing them right now, they're not pushing back this aggression with their own, then KSU, they're just going to continue to run away with these rounds.
I guess, well, though, there's the confidence factor from KSU, but these defenses are very much set up to allow people to get active. Well, speaking of active, actually, I think we have a lineup for a rush here. Actually, a rush that I've actually run in the past, if it's what I'm thinking they're going to do. Ooh. They're all going to try to get inside of the building very, very quickly, run in towards Bar, all 4 of them. But Sneaky, he gets that opening pick. He gets 2 before he's killed. No, 3 even. The rush shut down by 1 man. Now, Church, can he get anything done? No, Worm has the cross, the buddy ace. Everything happens in the first few seconds of the round, and it dies just as quickly. Ooh.
Bravo from Sam Houston, or not Sam Houston, but KSU rather.
Oh, that's so mean.
No, that wasn't even purposeful. I think that's a round where the overall execution of it was relatively poor, but I think it's a round where KSU just played better. That's not a round where I can really go out and say, wow, that was horrible from Sam Houston. They had a lot of great ideas. They used the sends almost perfectly, cutting off that line of sight, but they just weren't able to play those individual situations correctly. The 2-man crossfire over by bottom fireplace by KSU set up perfectly. Shut down that entire rush, even with little to no info. They had just the right positions. And I think it's now kind of a factor where Sam Houston is not being able to identify where KSU is playing, and because of that, they are indirectly playing directly into them, going directly where KSU wants them. And again, it goes back to the info. If they just identify these positions and can consistently play around where KSU is set up, then I think they'll have a ton more of a success.
I was a little bit scared, I won't lie, because I saw a sense in Sam Houston's lineup for a bit, but we picked off of it. We have a Bravo now, which is a pick that I do quite like, with the fact that KSU do like Maestro for this site. But look at this, actually. He's on a roam, interestingly enough, running around with that Bailiff. Could potentially be an opportunity for an early fight if Sam Houston looked to go that way. Looks like they want to get a couple people into different positions to try to contest Sneaky, who is still sitting behind that shield. As he was really the first point of contention. He really shot this attack in the foot last time before it could be properly realized. You also want someone on that master bedroom window to further cut off these rotations. But right now, it's really just a staring contest between Sneaky and the player on the Osa.
Yeah, almost in a very similar position, but because Sam Houston just waited, had a little bit more patient, didn't overswing, giving Sneaky that isolated 1v1, they pushed him out of his position, got rid of that shield, and in turn, didn't lose that opening pick. Panda actually finding the very first one on to string a phenomenal way to start their round.
Almost gets another one, actually, to compound on that, but they have to worry about Sneaky in this position, along with Draken on that Warden, sitting right behind half wall. They don't necessarily need to take into Piano, but they sure as hell can't use it right now if that's the goal. They need to get this kitchen wall, or this dining wall open, rather. start to gear up for a plant, if at all possible. There are a lot of defenders on the top floor, so that could be, but look at that. Worm, he swings for the equalizer as he's playing with the rest of his team as well to try to deny this space. Sam Houston, they want to run in here, try to get the space as much as they can. The Maestro cam hacked on site, gonna feed some information. It's going to be Uni next in the line of fire. If these two players look to jump in this window, they're going to. He's going to miss the first one. Can he kill the player while he's prone? Can he get anything done? Worm, though, he walks down the stairs. Sneaky walks out as well. Kirch, you're in another 1vx. Can you make anything out of this one? No, you can't. Uni, he finishes it off. It's every step of the way, every rotation, every solution. KSU just reading it like the Sunday comics.
Again, I am really just impressed by KSU and their ability to just control pace so well. And this is a problem that I see with just competitive Siege teams all the way up into T2. Some T2 teams can't even play pace this well. It's just a phenomenal understanding from KSU to say that there is no immediate pressure. There was no crossfire, nobody on double window and master. Nobody pushing highway, going to the bathroom, nobody on Solarium window, a very one-directional push onto that extension on the top floor to KSU, and that sent the message to KSU is that they can't push us out. They're trying to force these gunfights, hoping that we will potentially just fall back down to the bomb site, and if we don't do that, they don't have anything. The lack of adaptation, the lack of ability to attack these bomb sites, these extensions more importantly, from multiple different directions, giving different problems for KSU, has really allowed for this defense to play against this attack in a very simple way.
I think they should have the Frost here on top of everything else. So if the spawn peak pays dividends, it's actually the opposite. That's Panda's second opening kill in a row. But are they going to be able to convert it this time? Is up until that point, all of Sam Houston combined for 4 kills. Now they combined for 5. Still not beating the kill total of either Sneaky or Worm individually. Which again, kills aren't everything, but you need to win those fights if you want to get into the site. Although Tokyo is going to get his first of this map and compound this man count issue that we see on the side of KSU. They're using this utility as well to force them back a little bit.
Just a phenomenal round for Sam Houston. They're able to get Panda back up. String trying to find anything whatsoever. KSU, they have to get aggressive. If Sam Houston are able to read into this and a ill-advised swing, not having your gun up, not aware of the player there, allows for a 2v5, but Worm, he's going to be able to claw it back by 1. Dirty Dan almost getting 2, but Worm is able to shut him down for at least now.
He's in a 1 versus 2 now. He's gotten the first 2 that he needs. If he gets this rotation, he might be able to get another one, but he's on such low HP. Kiss of death from any gun. It's all that's necessary. Even a mean tweet might do it. He's just going to sit and wait now. Hold on to this angle. See who might potentially reveal themselves before he eventually looks to rotate. The attackers are really using this minute 10 seconds they have as they want him in a bad position. Plenty behind half wall. Coverage from outside of Piano. Yuri has such good coverage here. As he finally gets the round. Gods can bleed. David can take a round. And Sam Houston finally put themselves on the board.
Bleed? I only know Team Bravo! Bravo to Unnamed. I love that reference. Too bad for Team Joel. They're also not doing too hot right now. 6 Invitational. I would say they're looking down the barrel, but I think it's almost confirmed that they've been eliminated from the event. Oh, it was our producer. Okay. Or he could be taking the credit. He could be taking the credit. We don't know. We don't know. But again, I think that is a round where I can go out of my way and say that Sam Houston played it better. KSU playing those engagements a little bit too aggressively, but Sam Houston reading into that perfectly, shutting them down, continuing to apply that pressure so you didn't have those last two players able to get a second and additional third, and then playing that 2v2 plant perfectly. And if we continue to see that coordination now going on to the defensive half, we could potentially see Sam Houston work this map back.
Yeah, I think they're just the confidence from KSU that we had been praising before. I mean, it comes back to bite them there. Although, on the flip side, it did work for 5 rounds, so we'll see how that translates here. Is normally, like I was kind of saying before, you would expect the attacking half to be better on Chalet, and that's exactly where KSU have found themselves now. And if they can continue working that, or really start working that, I guess, that could be absolutely huge for them. But the first step is to kill Dirty Dan roaming over towards Mezzanine.
I really love just the overall info game. The importance from Sam Houston to have as much info as possible. It's something that we saw on map 1. Obviously, not much of an importance of the info gathering game on the attack, which is a little bit confusing to me. I think it is, in my opinion, a little bit more important. He's also in the bush. I didn't even notice that now. But I think it is a little bit even more important on the attack. But again, you know, you have it on the defense, it's better than not having it whatsoever. You can see that KSU has not a whole lot of info of their own. They have one ping onto the player upstairs, but that's an extension. You should be expecting that player. They don't have any direct info on these other defender positions, essentially putting them in a position where they're going to go into this execution. After they get that top floor clear, if they even do, kind of going into that site clear, kind of blind.
Warren might be the first gunfight of this round. Ooh, just barely misses that kill onto Uni. That could be huge. Right now, there's not really a ton of time left to work things with the amount of work that has to be done by KSU. Sitting outside of the bomb site, knocking on its door. If they can get past this mirror window, that'll be huge. Dragon, he's gonna grab that opener, although he is gonna get downed in that process. That's gonna be the job of Worm to pick him up before he is eventually finished off. With this player in the bush, Uni reads into Tokyo. Makes things a little bit harder. This mirror window, though, it's still in such a pivotal position. That nitro cell behind it as well could be the backbreaker. But there's also a flag coming up west main from the attack. As Yuri gets his second, Sneaky gets another to compound on that, but Yuri, he's keeping things close. He's on a quad. If he can get the last one, that's all they need to win this round, but he's on such low HP, but he gets the ace. It's Captain Yuri. He mans the ship towards the docks. Makes his opponents walk the plank.
A phenomenal start to the defense. Even if it came off of the back of a hero play from the team captain, Captain Yuri. Is he a pirate? Is he a good man? We don't know. But we do know that he got an ace and he won the very first round. And as I've said time and time before, it does not matter how you win a round. A round one is still a round one. And I think that is also a very important round because it's a really good mental booster. Losing the very first map in the fashion you did. Going down 5-1. Can even get a little bit of a glimpse and idea on how they're thinking Giants can bleed. But shutting down, having a teammate go that huge, little to no answer from KSU coming out there for that player, it really does give a little bit of a mental booster. Hopefully, potentially allowing for this Sam Houston defense to play a little bit more freely and in turn, play more aggressively.
5 seconds left before insertion.
That was about the time when we're going to see an adaptation to this defensive playstyle come out from the side of KSU. It's probably where we're going to see the first signs of it. This frost mat being placed in awkward positions is often something that we see catch teams off guard consistently when on this site. That's going to provide, along with that shield, quite a bit of a potential boost to the Sam Houston lines of defense, along with Tokyo. Running around the map on that Valkyrie, trying to recreate some of that success he had as Kavera. On that first map, Although it looks like KSU, they just want to attack things fairly directly here, dismantle this utility, and then just get right in.
Again, you can see that Yuri is in the very first position, but this defense or utility clear from KSU again, so quick, getting rid of that top blue shield, forcing Yuri to play a little bit more in a least favored position. Also, a lot of pressure going on to Dirty Dan. Player right outside a highway, you can see that Sneaky is trying to use that Sens gadget to just clear away. But Yuri, he's standing his ground. Dirty Dan on top Mez also standing his ground, but these nades and flashbangs hopefully will be pushing these players out. But it's Worm to shut down the top Mez player.
String's quite worse for wear here, but that opening pick nonetheless does still alleviate some pressure that KSU would have been feeling. Now they just need to get into the top floor and start working the site directly. How many of these mirror windows can you dismantle? How many of these positions can you identify? They've killed off Yuri, the hero from last round. Just going down with the ship this time. Tokyo's all the way off site again. He's gonna go for a long-winded flank, which could pay dividends if his teammates are alive to tell their own tales by the time it hits. There's only one player directly on the bomb site here. That's going to be Panda, located inside of stock. But they haven't got rid of his mirror window yet. They don't have an Ash Charge to do it. They just have to rely on cutting off the sight line. But the C4, if thrown correctly, could deny that denial. Time to jump in. Capital bolts go out. Senses go out. Flank goes down. Everything now all in the hands of these defenders. Can you nitrocell? Can you deny this? They get the first pick they need onto Draken, but the diffuser's gone down. C4 goes out, but it's too late. It's ineffectual even. They have to fight this back. They have to get these attackers all located outside of the building. Just waiting, placing down these air jabs, watching for these defenders to come through. Nomad going prone on the stairs. Can he get him? Yes, he can. That's Panda with the headshot. 3 versus 2 now. That the attackers are just holding across outside. They're not leaving anything up to chance here. You jump on to get one, you can't get the other. Uni now jumps in off of that. He's gonna fight this player in bar. Can you get him? Yes, you can. The quick rush at the end is all that they need. Beautifully set up and beautifully executed.
KSU answering the very hot first offensive round from Sam Houston with relatively a very hot and quick round of their own. Using that Sens almost perfectly, the Mira inside of stock, just not playing that C4, timing it correctly, almost getting the player as they were jumping out of that double window, but just not setting it off just in time. And because of that, they now put themselves in a very difficult position with KSU being only one round away from winning this entire series. For Sam Houston, on the other hand, they have to win 4 in a row, go completely flawless on their defense, and still that only sends them into overtime. I think the sheer factor of KSU, especially on these executions, now going into basement, which is a very execution-heavy bomb site, I feel like they will probably also have relatively a very fun time with this bomb site as well, has led them to just consistent success that Sam Houston just really does not have an answer for yet.
If KSU win this round, that's a repeat of the last map, although obviously a little bit different since they started on the defense. 2 7-2s in a row, 14-2 in in round count. If KSU could pull that, absolutely huge. That plus 12 differential, it'll be something they'll be thanking themselves for later. But Dirty Dan is going to look to throw a wrench into things. Oryx is an operator I love for this site because of how much vertical space Chalet possesses, excuse me. But the fuse here could potentially be an early point of contention here for Dan if he's able to get over there. Not going to reveal himself quite yet. This blitz as well allows for some late round quickness along with that Monty. Tons of displacement potential along with the ability to open up these floors externally.
Yet another round where if Sam Houston is able to get the opening pick, that would be pivotal. And speaking of opening pick, Dirty Dan is able to shut down String, removing that external vertical gameplay. Tokyo also feeling a little bit of that he on his own trap with a player top blue. Eventually, Sneaky is able to finish him, get that answer back, put them now at an even man count, but still so much utility. And a C4 is able to find one, and another one with the SMG.
Dirty Dan, he might have just gone and done it for his team. There's still 2 attackers left, but they don't have control of the diffuser. They're worried about Dan. He has gotten away. Let's run somewhere else on the map. Let's just gonna wait for these 2. Trying to make their move. Last seen around master bedroom, now over by mezzanine yet again. He knows where this diffuser is, and he's just gonna hold on to it. Trying to fight these attackers as well, shooting pot shots off wherever he can. Looks like they're gonna opt to just go for the site, try to fight these players as best they can. But without the diffuser, there's only so much that can be done. EMP completely ineffectual against the Clash. LMG from the Maestro regout as well. It's good for 1. Down immediately, but Kirch, he finally secures that late round kill he's been looking for. As Sam Houston, they've kept themselves alive for just a little bit longer.
Very slow journey up the hill has begun. Sam Houston is able to get yet another round on the board. Just one more round that they had on the previous map. Even if they go into here to lose it, they still find improvement in a sense. And I think that was a phenomenal round of just playing off of each other, identifying where that push was coming out from KSU, and then just using the appropriate positions, and then that utility being a C4 being thrown out by the bandit. And it's a round where we're seeing glimpses of Sam Houston knowing how to play together, play off of each other's bodies, and identify and read into what KSU is doing in a round. Just haven't seen that consistently throughout this entire series, nonetheless this map specifically. But again, round 1 is a round 1, and still need 3 on the board, but that was, in my opinion, one of, if not the best round that I have seen from Sam Houston so far in the series.
5 seconds left.
I mean, I think that was kind of
Defuse a bomb.
little bit of a just kind of one-off, like, let's just see if this works type play from KSU. Is, I mean, they have the rounds to burn. Why not, right? Like, you're in the position where you're up 6-2. Yeah, obviously, you want the best round differential you can get, but you're not going to cry if you have, I mean, one more round loss than you did before. Well, let's see if Tokyo can be a little bit more effectual in this vigil this time. Sort of teasing a run out, but he's not going to go for it. That Nomad's going to make that damn near impossible. Hard reach charges being expended over on this piano side of the map, opening up these castle barricades. Once again, they need control of these areas above the site as best they can. But these air jabs, they've been so good. They're keeping Tokyo from going for any proper runouts here, which is allowing these players to be safe. But Dan, yet again, he's good for that early fight. Things are being traded out. Finally, need even man count now. But you've lost your Grim, you've lost your Blackbeard, you've lost so much of that displacement that you're going to be craving when the next 2 comes.
The good thing for KSU is that this is a very evened out team. It's not another situation where Uni is pulling all of the work, has a lot of the pressure on his back. You still have Worm and Sneaky having a phenomenal map here on Chalet. Crossfire's also still properly set up. This top floor essentially is vacant. You do have a player still playing over by that case, by Library. They have plenty enough time to drone him out, and Tokyo just standing still, allowing for Worm to shut him down, will make it easier.
What?
Dan missing his shots, and what went from a very winnable 3v3 now, it's all on the shoulders of Panda in the 1v3 with a minute left on the clock.
Is his position good enough to make this work? Drone goes out. They're going to look for him before they do anything, and he is spotted. behind that mirror window. Still expecting a player to run in through 45, but they've surrounded him. They know exactly where he is. One on the hatch, one on the stairs, one on this window. They're going to confirm his position again with the drone, then start to flash him out, start to go for this. But can this rotation pay dividends? Can you get the spray through the wall? The attackers now inside of Trophy. Worm inches his way closer, along with the help from String. Flash him out, you're full blind. Do they know where you are? Yes, they do. The 4K from Worm is all that they need to shut down this comeback and secure themselves the 7-3 on their opponent's map pick and that 2-0 scoreline.
KSU starting out their spring semester with a fantastic showing, a 2-0 against Sam Houston. On the other side of the coin, Sam Houston having lackluster opening. Again, I spoke about earlier that this is the opening week for this semester. It's going to take time for teams to mesh with each other. So I don't really think we should, harp too much on Sam Houston in this situation.
I mean, hey, at the end of the day, it's game day experience and it's VOD view experience as well, which say the second one of those two might be a little bit more important, is that's often where you're going to see, oh, duh, we held the shield too aggressively, or whatever other things that you might kind of notice. Although there is some housekeeping that we should probably do before we end this stream. Thank you for tagging me in that, Goose.
Yeah.
There's Rocket League tomorrow starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, which personally, even though I'm mainly Siege, I do love Rocket League a lot. It is so much fun to watch, so you should tune into that. Overwatch on Friday as well. Not what I'm as interested in, but still always good to support the youngins, the kids.
Yeah.
They're like my age. I can't say that. And then we have CS2 next Wednesday, which it's always a good one to watch. I mean, it is one of the oldest ones, so not as well.
Yeah, again, we will not be back next week, as you said before. Yeah, CS2. The Wednesday after that, we'll be back for our second match in this semester. Again, it was KSU versus Sam Houston. I think KSU is a phenomenal team, a team that I'm going to keep my eye on in the future. But for now, that's going to be all from us, from our production team, from me, Goose, and Allie. And I hope you guys have a fantastic night, and make sure you watch the rest of the games this week.
Oh, what an awesome day for a pump, dude.
Yeah, I gotta take it easy. Doc says if I exert myself, I will die.
You overexert yourself, you will die.
I'll tell you what, you finish the workout, all these could be yours. That looks good. A little bit of honey ham for the ham. Get after it, and that's your get after it, and that's your treat. Hey, do the exercise, do the work, then you get the reward. That's how this works, man. You gotta give it max effort, maximum effort. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Big hams. Make it work, those hams. Work 'em. Putting in the work. Yeah, baby. Yes. This is a spicy workout. Gotta make it worth it. Building the beef and bringing home the bacon, baby. I'm loving it. Teriyaki is just about within your reach. Come on, get you some. Come on. Maximum effort. Maximum effort. You're there. You're almost there.
Oh, so worth it.
Each time of year carries memories, like an never fading whisper in the breeze. Oh, we will keep on changing.